boys and girls. Protocol Pegasus here to bring you guys another Remnant from the Ashes video covering my War Machine Gunner build 2.0. So without further ado, let's get into this. I'm going to go ahead and open up my character sheet here, and we're going to cover my armor set before anything else. Reason being for this, because it's pretty much the bread and butter of the overall build. From there, the armor set I happen to be utilizing is still Leto's armor set. What's nice about the Leto's armor set, it did undergo a few changes in these recent updates. One of those changes being that it now reduces stamina cost by 25%, and it also increases damage reduction by 10%. This has the ability to stack up to 5 times, meaning that you can reduce your overall damage output by a whopping 50%, which is really, really nice. And as you can see, it's on each piece of armor set now, which is also really nice. From there, we're going to cover my amulet as well as my trinkets. From there, one of the ones I'm utilizing is Brutal's Mark. It increases my damage output by 25% when the target gets below 50% HP. Super nice. From there, I have my Soul Link Ring. The Soul Link Ring will end up healing me for 5% of the damage dealt from my summons. One of those summons that are going to be within this build is the turrets. So every time the turrets do damage, it heals me. From there, I'm using this ring that I cannot pronounce, which basically will regenerate my mod power output periodically, regardless if I'm in combat or not, meaning that I will always have my mods active at any given time, regardless if I am fighting. From there, one of the sidearms that I'm utilizing is the submachine gun. Reason being for this is because I love the fact that I can use it from close to medium range, and it has a really nice burst fire potential, so it lets me mow down enemies pretty quickly if they get too close to me. One of the weapon mods I am utilizing is the Flicker Cloak. Reason being for this is because I can absorb more damage, which lets me get in melee range, and it also lets me deal with those BS one-shot attacks that a lot of the bosses that I encounter throughout the course of this campaign will have. From there, the primary weapon I'm utilizing is the Assault Rifle. Reason being for this, because I like the fact that I can use it close to medium to long range. I like the fact that it has burst fire, it's super accurate, and in my opinion, it's one of the best weapons in the entire game. If you don't have your hands on this weapon already, highly recommend going ahead and get this weapon. From there, the weapon mod I have attached onto it is Iron Sentinel. I just throw two turrets on the ground at any given location. Super nice. The melee weapon I'm using is called Butcher's Flail. This applies the corroded effect, which basically reduces the target's damage by about 5%, which stacks up about 6 times, meaning that I can reduce the target's damage drastically, which will allow me to go about being able to wail on them with any type of weapon of my choice, which is really, really nice. This also works extremely well against bosses. We're going to dive a little bit into my traits. Traits are going to be as followed. One of the primary traits that I really like for this overall build are going to be Invoker, increases summon damage, and this guy, which I cannot pronounce, which increases my healing efficiency by 100%. Basically, what these two do is that this will increase the damage of my turrets, so the more damage they deal, of course, I will receive healing from, and from there, of course, I will get more healing off of this trait as well from my ring, which is really, really nice. So it all synergizes really well. The other traits are as followed, of course, that are pretty much standard in my opinion, which is Vigor, which increases health, Endurance, which increases stamina, and then, of course, you can pick up whatever you like from there. I'm a stronger believer of being able to pick up every trait at the end of the day, just because everything synergizes so well, and the fact that you can pretty much use everything here regardless of what type of build you're doing. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but I do believe those two traits that I had originally just covered for, I believe, Invoker and this one that I cannot pronounce are going to be really the bread and butter in regards to dealing damage and being able to bolster your survivability within the course of this build. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and jump cut the video to some gameplay so you guys can see this build in action. And if you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to leave it in the comment section. And I would also like to get your opinion of what you guys want to see me do next. Alright guys, so give me a few minutes and I'm going to jump cut the video. Alright guys, so we are back here on ROM. This level of difficulty will be Nightmare mode, so I can show you guys the true potential of what this build happens to offer around like endgame. From there, I will also show you tips and tricks on how to go about approaching this build in regards to higher level difficulty, so that way you guys will be more diverse in being able to deal with any given situation that ends up being thrown at you. When coming across this build, which is really nice, is because of the fact of the ring that you happen to be wearing, you will always go about regenerating your mod capacity, which will allow you to go about utilizing your mods at any given time, which means that you don't have to worry about saving them. So I can go ahead and drop my mods here, and you can see that this will be an elite. I'm going to proc Flicker Cloak, and then I'm just going to go to town on melee range. From there, because I'm being able to absorb more damage, I can melee him and knock him prone, and then I'm going to switch over to my primary firearm, and then I'm just going to keep kiting him around a little bit until he ends up being dropped. From there, you can see that I'm still full health because I ended up getting healing off of the turrets. And then from there, I already have another turret available into a second turret already up and ready to go. So you can clearly see that the full potential of this build really is underestimated if you're not utilizing your mods at any given situation you happen to be encountered with, because your mods are going to be your bread and butter of this build, and it just synergizes so well. And you can see that even if anything ends up appearing behind me, you can see that my turret's going to capitalize on it and just end up mowing it down. And now that you see that I'm looking in one direction, my turret ends up focusing on another target in the opposing direction, and then from there, I'm going to go ahead and put that down, and you can see my health is going to start regenerating. And once my health starts regenerating, I'm going to be able to get more health than what I started with, of course. Now, one thing to note, as you can clearly see, is that my turret's actually going to cockblock me here a little bit, and from there I'm not going to be able to maneuver forward. So you want to make sure you put it in a situation where you're not going to end up being cornered by your own turret. But what's nice about it is, too, that works both ways. So if there was an elite that was going about chasing me and I put him in the corridor and he's focused on me, I could just easily transition where he ends up getting stuck in the doorway, and I don't have to worry about him because I can just turn around and mow him down because he's not going to get past the turret. Well, at least before the fact I end up killing him. So I'm not too concerned in that regard. But yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind when actually utilizing these turrets, is that you can actually use them to position in different ways that actually makes it a little bit more adaptable for you depending on the setting that you're actually in. So, for example, if I wanted to... Oh, let me hit this first. I'm going to go ahead and just get some aggro on these guys here. And because these guys are actually ranged, I can actually show you. But basically what I would do here is I would get some aggro on them, and they would end up chasing me. And then from there, what I would do is I would drop a turret right there. Now from here, it probably has to be centered a little bit more, but you get the general idea. They wouldn't be able to get past this. And then from there, they would just end up getting stuck in the door, and I can mow them down. So, for example, I can aim this way, and he's just going to get shot at the door, and I know that door is covered. And then I can also put one there if I wanted to, and then I can go ahead and basically take hold of this position without actually worrying about getting flanked, which is super nice. And if I do get flanked, I get healed, so I don't have to worry about it. So overall, it works out really well for me. This build is really nice because it's so diverse that you can set up in any location if you wanted to go about doing so. And you can see too, with the primary rifle that I have, I can deal with that target even if it's at a farther range than what it normally would be, considering that he is ranged. Oh. Another nice thing is too, if I end up getting a little bit too close, I can just enter burst fire mode and not really worry about it. I'll go ahead and put a turret there in case I end up getting anything, but from there I'm going to go and keep walking. That's another thing too, is that like, don't be too focused on where your turrets are placed. Just throw them down. It really doesn't matter at the end of the day, because as long as they're doing damage, you're getting healing. Even if they're not killing anything, you're still healing. So that's really the biggest benefit of the turrets. When you're putting one turret down, that should be your primary focus, is just getting health back. When you're putting two turrets down, you might want to position it a little bit better so that way you end up doing more sufficient damage. But in reality, if you're putting one turret down, I really wouldn't worry about it dealing damage per se. I would focus more on the fact that it's able to hit the target and it's healing you. That's pretty much the ideal point of the actual turret that you throw down at that given moment. Because one turret won't really do as much damage as what you would like, but two turrets will do a lot more. I'm actually going to get cornered here, which is not going to be a good thing for me, but I'm going to go ahead and proc Flicker Cloak, and that's going to amplify my overall damage absorption, and then I'm just going to go to town on these guys. I ended up walking into this here, so unfortunate, but with Flicker Cloak, I can actually just proc that, throw down the turrets, and get full health again. And then I can go ahead and mow these guys down. Wow, that little guy almost killed me. For the sake of argument, I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And then, ow, what the hell? Where the, oh my god, I hate ranged people. Why is this a thing? Die. Jesus Christ. Okay, I think I'm, okay, now I'm good. Jeez. But you get the gist. Like, I came across an encounter that literally I had no business being in, and still I'm perfectly fine. Right, keep running through this. Another thing to note playing on higher level difficulty too is because of the fact they have a lot more health, you're going to want to have a lot of consumables on you just because it's going to make your life a lot easier. Nice. Go ahead, turret, do your thing. Did you kill him already? Oh, look at that, I already killed him. Never mind. Never mind. Ah, what the? Under normal circumstances, when you have a bunch of enemies running at you and rushing you continuously, it's pretty easy for the turrets to capitalize on it and lay waste to them. Not only will they lay waste, but you'll get the healing, which is nice. And then Flicker Cloak, I save Flicker Cloak for any elites you come across, or if you're in a pinch and you need to basically heal yourself or do anything. That's going to be your bread and butter. When coming up on boss fights, which I'll show you momentarily, is when you're going to utilize Flicker Cloak to its real potential when you're encountering a boss mechanic that's absolutely BS and has the potential of one-shotting you. Flicker Cloak comes in pretty clutch here. Alright. Jump the window for extra points of badassery. Gonna try to slide through the fog even though that doesn't work, and then we're gonna lay waste to this vicious beast. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and throw turrets down immediately. Another thing I'm gonna do too, since it is nightmare mode, I'm gonna go ahead and proc all my consumables real quick just so I have an easier time dealing with a lot of these. Another thing too, I'm gonna go ahead and open up my inventory tab and just take this. This is gonna give me 10% damage. No, I'm sorry. I believe it gives me 30% resistance to fire for the next 10 minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and proc that. I don't have to worry about the burning. Keep in mind, since you can't roll with this build, it is very easy for you to get burning stacks on you, but granted, since this build has such high resistance to burning, you really don't have to worry about it too much, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Especially playing at this high level difficulty. Another thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to proc, that's the wrong one, I'm going to proc, oh, I already have the radiation removal on. Alright, never mind. Okay. Where you at, buddy? There we go. Alright, I'm going to end up swapping over to my primary weapon. The reason I'm doing that is because of the fact that the primary weapon does only have one charge for my turrets. So I'm going to go ahead and lay waste onto my target here and then get another charge for my turrets. And then what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use Flicker Cloak just yet. I want to wait till I end up getting a little bit lower and I really need it, because keep in mind, Flicker Cloak doesn't amplify your damage or anything like that. It just amplifies your survivability. So you want to be cautious of that and when to use it. As you can see, I'm still keeping a really close eye on my health to make sure that I don't end up going down too low. I'm also watching my ammo reserves and everything else too, so I'm being very, very mindful of all that. While going about dealing with all these ads. And you can clearly see my health hasn't dropped below 50% at all, because I'm continuously getting healing back from dealing with these miniature ads as well as the boss. And you can see the boss's health is almost at 50%, and we haven't even been here for like 2 minutes yet, which is nice. And I'm going to keep laying waste to him, and from there I'm going to go ahead and drop another turret. I'm going to keep laying waste to him. I'm going to go ahead and drop another turret. I'm going to get more healing, and then I'm just going to go ahead and let it go to town. I haven't used a single heart, as well, as you can clearly tell on the right hand side, and I have not used another healing potion, as you can clearly tell. This is all healing from my turret. And I'm going to go ahead and keep laying waste to him. And I'm going to put down another turret, even though it only stacks 2, as you can clearly see. But that's going to reset the timer in that turret, which allows it to go up, being up longer. And you can see I'm still full health. Now the burning's really setting in, though, but it's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and reset my turret here. I'm going to go ahead and use another ammo crate. And I'm just going to hold my ground. And that's okay if he explodes right on top of me, it's fine. Okay, so since I am taking a little bit more damage than what I would like, I'm going to go ahead and put the turret down. Now, the only reason it was fine for that guy to explode on top of me is because I did have Flicker Cloak still, and I knew that one explosion wouldn't kill me. And even if I did drop low enough, I can utilize Flicker Cloak and still be okay. So from there, I'm just going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to keep laying waste to him. And as you can clearly tell, that's it. And that is... But yeah, guys, if you have any other questions or concerns or any comments that you want to post down below, feel free to. But yeah, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. It really helps me out. And don't forget to hit the bell too, because that will allow you to go about getting notifications for any new content I end up posting, such as Remnant from the Ashes builds, or any tips or tricks tutorial guides I end up doing in the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. But I hope to catch you guys in the next one. Peace!